Hello, everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. But whatever, it'll do. I have part of your screen on my screen or something. It's fine. It's fine. It's tire fire. It's the normal thing for Discussing Tabletop. Anyway, welcome. It's October 20th, 2018. This is technically first episode. We're rushing towards truth. We'll probably get it by the end of the year, I think.
Fucking hard.
Yeah, geez, 100 episodes. It's quite a thing. Anyway, we do have a variety of topics to talk about today that might interest you. We're going to talk about the Magic the Gathering open beta arena. It has been out for a few weeks now, but we haven't talked about it. And this is the open beta version of it. Starfinder is putting out their Alien Archive number 2. Pathfinder, was it Deep Cuts? It's a name for it, but they've got Gargantuan Dragon minis. Pathfinder. We want to talk about those. Are they at that point in time? That's a different description.
Well, it's still a miniature of a colossal creature.
Yeah. Munchkin has put out the 9th expansion to the base Jurassic Snark, which
eyes roll snarkily over here.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. This is like in that area for me for Munchkin, and then Carcassonne Safari. Because Carcassonne in its tile laying things Safari.
Why not?
I mean, really. But anyway, let's talk about Magic the Gathering. It's open beta for Arena. So, if you don't know about Magic the Gathering Arena, it's Magic's semi-replacement for Magic the Gathering Online. Magic the Gathering Online is notorious for its awful interface, which it kind of does have, I have to say, in some retrospects. I played around with it for a bit. There are very nice things. There are very awful things about the entire thing.
I honestly never minded it. Much.
My big thing was when I did deck building in there. When I opened to be able to deck with my entire and build a deck and saved a deck. There was no option to play. I should have been with my friends. Want something that I'm just building to play with my friends. No big tournaments, nothing special design. Like, and the thing is like you have to have owned the game, which I was like, well, I don't want 2 sets of cards.
Oh yeah, you had to own the card to build to play with it with anyone.
Yes. But when I'm doing random building my legacy decks and stuff that I own the stuff for, but
that was always the but part was it would have been nice if there was some kind of way to redeem cards you already owned so you could have them on the online version as well.
Yeah, that, and also like even if you're just doing something casual friends, build whatever the heck deck you want to do. I mean, it's just with your friends. It's sky's the limits. Imagination's your own. If you're doing any other kind of ranking or tournament things or earning stuff in the game, I can understand that.
Right.
A lot of the aspects of the game, which were the Magic Online community, sure, but friends, not. Anyway, Arena evolution entire thing. It's from what I've heard, it's supposed to be very good for draft competitions and things like that nature. And it's supposed to have a better UI. It unfortunately doesn't bring over a lot of cards, so it's a lot of it's new stuff in Arena from what I've heard. They might expand that at some point in time, but they went through a closed beta where you could sort of get into it. You had to kind of go through an approval process and things like that, but now it's an open beta where pretty much you just give an email and you can download it. I don't think it cost anything.
No, it's free for the open.
Yeah.
It's just if you were part of the closed beta, you have to reset up everything. Everything doesn't carry over 100%. So
that's a disadvantage in the entire thing. But, I mean, you get to... This thing is it's not a replacement for online, but online also then doesn't... It's not being supported the same way, so it's kind of weird that, they're not making an actual replacement, but still replacing it, which I think is unusual. I don't know how it's supposed to evolve. That's the thing, is I'm unsure.
Well, remember, it's still in a beta test.
This is true, so we don't know.
So it could eventually be, replacing it. It's just they're not ready to say, yes, it's going to be replacing it.
That's true. They could always change their minds. They do make great decisions and awful decisions, as we've seen in the past couple of weeks. Wizards, like their debacle with the Ravnica masterpieces, which I think we were talking about it. It was a debacle.
Yeah.
And so Arena could very easily evolve into an unfortunate debacle, but it's not bad. It's a much better UI. It's fun. People like it. If you're drafting or just, playing some simple stuff in Magic, just with a lot of the new cards and things like that, it's great for you. I'd recommend it. It's awesome that way. You can do some very quick throw together games. But just, keep an eye out how things are going to evolve.
Now, the one thing I did see that they said that would carry over is purchases of gems, whatever those are, because I haven't tried this.
I think it's their, online currency. You know how,
yeah.
It's their way of, saying, you're not spending real-world money, but you are spending real-world money. Right. A lot of games do, unfortunately, now. They make you feel better about your spending habits. I guess that's the way to say it.
They try to.
Yes. They're like, you're purchasing gems, which you can spend on things.
You're still purchasing.
Gems. Yeah, you are.
You're still making a game purchase. Sorry.
It's true. It really is true. And so... it's hard for me to say where you would go next after that one with that kind of thing. It's you're making another purchase. Enjoy.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, check it out. It's a beta. It's free. That's the important thing. Is it's free. You don't technically have to spend any money on it at all. I guess it's a free-to-play game, you could say, in a way.
Yeah. For at least now.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I'm curious as to, if they will charge it, or will they...
like Magic the Gathering online was free.
No, it was $10.
Was it?
Oh, yes.
I've had it for so long that
I think you've had the PS3 or the PS...
No, I also have the computer.
Oh, the computer version? It was $10 when I got it. They might have had early versions that were free or something for a while.
I might have got it early on, and
I know you could get one of the versions.
I bought it and just didn't remember.
Yeah, and I know you can get one of the versions you were able to get one of the versions for free on PlayStation 3 back in the day.
Yeah.
That was the... I know there's
yeah, but it was that one was specific. It only had cards from X year to X year. Mm-hmm. It was very limited.
Yes.
It wasn't the full MTG online.
No, it wasn't. That's true. Still, it was something. If you didn't have a decent, computer or internet section, connection. So, but anyway, Arena, the open beta is out now. So if you want to check it out yourself, go ahead and install it. Check it out. Try it out for yourselves and see if you like it. It's an alternate way to play a little bit of Magic or something, and there's a whole bunch of people, even people that I don't think were really Magic people, I've seen streaming a little bits of it. So I think it's a great way to bring newer people into Magic in a way. It's because it's much more casual.
Right.
And I think this is a good way to introduce people to the game. And I think that's what I feel like it's good for it for. Yeah. All right. Let's move on, though. I do want to talk about it a little bit more. Let's talk about Starfinder Alien Archives. Number 2. So, well, I mean, I think
more alien races.
I know, it's really more aliens and such. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of like major things to talk about like with this one, but it's because I think we all saw that this was coming. You know, the original Pathfinder did 4 or 5 bestiaries. I can't remember the exact number of them, but a whole bunch of them over time. Since Starfinder is their kind of big flagship thing right now, I can definitely see them getting it also. So definitely it's nice to see that they are putting it out at a reasonable pace, but the thing is, I've been curious as to what Pathfinder 2.0 will mean to Starfinder. Because Starfinder is like a upgraded version of Pathfinder with space setting.
Right.
So what does that mean to 2.0 and Starfinder? Will they give it the same number of years they gave Pathfinder before they go to like a Starfinder 2.0? I don't know at this point in time. I'm just curious. I do like these books a little bit better than I like the bestiaries, though, because they give, some special rules, new technologies. Of course, they do, just like the Pathfinder bestiaries, they say, like, this race is playable, here's some stats. And, a whole bunch of other weird aliens, too. So...
aliens are always fun.
Oh, God. I think that's one of those things that I also like a little bit more about the Starfinder Alien Archives. It's less of a basis. The Pathfinder bestiaries, even the last ones, still had creatures that were very reminiscent or not like legacy versions of stuff from Dungeons & Dragons. Like the open source stuff.
Right.
You couldn't get away from it. Because we already had 3.5, 3.0, AD&D, 2nd edition, and original Dungeons & Dragons throwing out how many goddamn monsters?
Oh, yeah.
Now, granted,
they were in the culture for a long time,
yeah,
so...
There's a lot of repeats, but there's still a lot of stuff there that very easily makes sense to add into Pathfinder. And then a lot
stuff
of weird...
that people know and are comfortable with.
Mm-hmm. Granted, they did have a lot of weird creativity also, which was great.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's why doing more of them, they started backing away from that. But I think this is like going fully off the deep end into like, crazy crap.
Are you saying they're going off the rails into a crazy train?
Probably. I know what you did there, but I couldn't, unfortunately, follow up on it at all because I'm like, I don't know the tune off the top of my head. It's just not in my brain. It's not in my brain.
It's fine. I just had to throw that out there.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
Sometimes I get a good one.
Well, I mean, last night I was over at Ollie's channel and I proved I was a rap god, so...
Okay.
We were playing Jackbox Party Pack 5, and there's one of the games is like a rap battle kind of thing, and I was really good at it. Strangely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, MC Tantus.
I was the rap god. I went under. Thank you very much. My moniker was correct as to what it would be. Anyway. So the Alien Archive 2, it's out now. You can check it out, see if there's any interesting races, both to play and use in your games. What is it? They list for the dozens of races with full player rules, anything from an uplifted bear, which if they're going by the uplifted rules, in Stellaris that means taking a primitive creature and giving it like actual sentience.
So Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, it's supposed to be more like you would take like Australopithecine and like turn them into intelligent beings very quickly.
Like I said, like Rocket Raccoon.
But also a sentient slug. I mentioned. I'm a slug!
Matt, is there something you're trying to tell me?
Is the slug man now, or is it just like or a slug person. I'm sorry, slug person, because it could be a slug woman. Well, they might be both. It's a slug, but
Slugulator.
A slug creature like medium sized, or is it like like an actual slug that's intelligent?
Hi, how you doing?
Holy crap! Talking slug.
Don't step on me. Keep that soul away.
But you look so delicious. I mean, I don't know.
You're not French, are you?
I do not know what you are talking about.
Oh, wait, that'd be a snail. Sorry.
Close enough. It's all mollusk around here.
All mollusk all the time?
All mollusk all the time. Anyway, so it's an interesting book. I mean, if you are a big fan of Starfinder doing a lot, I definitely would recommend getting these. I recommended the Pathfinder Bestiaries as they got them out. Even they were better than the D&D monster manuals because, I mean, they did a little bit of the same of like, here's a creature and here's some alternate versions of said creature. Like I think D&D did it best when they're like, oh, here's a bunch of gnolls, and here's some like gnolls with stats that you can use, which is good to have, but it's a little weird, and you want some new stuff usually.
You could name him Ryan.
Ryan the Gnoll.
No, Nolan Ryan.
Oh, no, that's better than what I was going for. That's certainly better than what I was going for. But,
like I said, sometimes I get a good one.
Yeah, no, that was a great one. So, kind of hinting at it, though, yeah, I always felt that the D&D monster manuals, not as good as the Pathfinder Bestiaries. I feel like they learned some lessons from, like, make sure, even if you make something relatively stupid, don't make it too stupid. Like Monster Manual 2 for D&D 3.0, Cloaked Ape.
Cloak Ape.
It was too dumb.
Hey, they should have done Monocle Ape.
But and Top Hat Ape. And Cloak and Mantle Ape.
How about Tuxedo Ape?
What was it? It was like a flying squirrel version of an ape with like spell resistance and damage reduction. So it's Magic Ape. It was like, what? That's all it was. Oh, God.
Hey, everyone needs a Magic Ape now and then.
Magic Ape. Magic Ape Ball?
Yes. Please don't play with the Magic Ape's balls.
Oh, God. The poor thing. The poor thing. Anyway. Before this conversation goes any farther down the hill than it already has...
I don't know what you're talking about.
And you're supposed to respond with "too late."
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I encourage it.
Why don't we move on, though, to our next topic, which happens to be also from Paizo, though. Hey, Paizo, you have a couple things this week we want to talk about. We're going to talk about Dargans. Oh, I'm sorry, Dragons.
No, Dargans.
Dargan Williams? That's not a person.
I don't think so. I'm like, what? Is that like Robin Williams' like unknown brother?
Dargan. No. It maybe his estranged son. Sure. So apparently Pathfinder Deep Cuts, which is in conjunction with WizKids, because WizKids has been doing a lot of miniatures, as we've always talked about lately, they're putting out unpainted gargantuan dragon miniatures. Green, red, and white. I'm showing off the white one here because as the green and red ones are cool, the white one's at least in like this really awesome dynamic pose, I kind of think. But they show them off very painted. And these are very not painted.
Yes.
Pre-primed with Villaggio and ready to paint out of the box, they say. I don't know what Villaggio is. I think it's something to do with painting miniatures.
Probably.
Yes.
The one thing I will say, they do have other non-gargantuan miniatures too that are unpainted on that the one side too.
It seems like Deep Cuts are an entirely big line of things. It's just that they've been more traditional sized ones. It's just interesting to see that they now have a gargantuan line, because I mean, D&D people have done gargantuan miniatures before, or larger. I think there's only been one Colossus thing, maybe two. And I'm
Colossus.
I mean, I have the Colossus Red Dragon from the D&D miniature game. That was a ridiculous, unnecessary expenditure of money.
But you'll probably never use?
It's sitting on my shelf looking cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best thing I can say about it. It's just sitting there looking like, I'm a dragon going to you up. And because it's to scale with the traditional mini board, like, playmats, it's insanely sized. The thing's like 1.5 foot tall. It's not mini. Anyway,
it's maxi.
Yeah. So it's got featured characters, monsters. They don't talk a lot about it on the Paizo side. I know I probably can link. You can probably link to the WizKids versions of the site, but something this size kind of makes me kind of go meh about painting it. Granted, there are people that put up with painting smaller miniatures. I'm awful at painting miniatures, so don't even ask me in the first place. But this is not so mini to be painting. This is, as much as the other ones would take you a long time with a lot of details, this thing is probably going to take you forever.
I'm going to give you a link to a site that sells nothing but miniatures, and they have their full line there as well.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah,
it's called Miniature Market.
Yeah, I was looking through this through Paizo's site.
Well, there's another one for you.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I mean,
but yes, you have to love painting miniatures.
This is very true. You have to love painting miniatures. I don't know if there's any other way to say it.
Makes me kind of think of, what is it, Warhammer.
People love Warhammer.
And you have to paint the miniatures for it. So, if you're into that kind of community, this might be up your alley.
It's very true. I mean, I always felt like they have very interesting miniatures in general anyway. And some of them, I think they've put out, like, painted ones also. Like, their iconic heroes and stuff. The Pathfinder miniatures are, like, a weird mixed bag of everything that exists. They really do have this strange collection, almost, of different types of things. This is a very high-quality miniature, but the problem is you gotta paint it. And put up with I'm painting something that's, like, this tall.
Yes.
Granted, you don't need to paint it. That's always an option. You can just have it because it's cool looking.
Well, the white dragon, you really don't need to paint much.
I don't know the natural coloring of the unpainted version of it, though.
I saw some of them on that site. Some of them had, and they're pretty much pure white.
Okay. I think
they also showed some of the colored ones, like the red one. They show colored, even though it's an unpainted miniature.
Yeah.
But I guess for color suggestions, they show the color versions.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you could make it.
And I'm thinking it's technically plastic, probably. Instead of metal?
I would say it's plastic or a resin.
Mm.
Like, okay, here is two of the smaller ones. I'll drop the link in. That's unpainted. That's the color they come.
And Glacio is a surface primer. So yeah, They've prepared it that the surface is ready to paint, basically. they've already given, like, it has a coat of paint on it, but it's a primer paint that, you know, is made that
so you can paint it easier.
Yeah, paint the plastic easier. Just like you have to do the same thing to, I think, like if you were painting like a metal miniature, you got to prime it first because you're painting on metal. It's probably a different type of primer, I'm assuming. I don't know for sure. But no, those are definitely really cool, and I mean the gargantuan ones are pretty awesome. It's just a kind of insanity a little bit that if I was ever to paint a miniature, this would be the first from the miniatures I would paint. I think that's what I'm going to say about it. This is like a step away from, I would put up with painting this. But anyway, why don't we move on, though? Because we still have a couple more topics, and we're really getting through these very quickly today. But it might be a little shorter one because our schedules have been kind of today.
Yeah, well, we started a new time.
We're starting at a new time. We started a little late, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. And, you know, keeping the show a little, like, efficient is not bad. Let's talk about Steve Jackson games. Alright,
I'll give it to him. They're more on time for this one.
And on brand. I think this one's called on brand. You know?
Well, that's what I mean for the you know, them doing Jurassic Park, since, you know, it's been brought back and everything and it's current still. Oh, yeah. It's not coming out, you know, oh look, like the Harry Potter one they did what, like a year ago?
Yeah, less than that. And it's like, we still have the Fantastic Beasts series, but I don't think that's as, like, popular at all.
It's just like, that's a strange time to come out for this.
Yeah, it's not like Harry Potter is completely dead. It's just it's not as prevalent, unfortunately. It's not a great time to have it. So this is Munchkin 9. So this tells you how many. It is the 9th expansion, because I think it's technically the 8th expansion, because normal classic Munchkin is number 1.
Right.
And I can't say that up until Munchkin 8, there wasn't bad stuff. They've always been pretty good. All of these. They've added some interesting things. We got steeds for some of them. We got dungeons. We got a lot of, like, extra cheating cards. You know, like, things like centaurs, lizard men. A lot of cool stuff. Here, it's got, like, you know, they don't give you a lot of information about what's in
not
it.
At all.
It's like, wear primeval armor, dinosaur steeds. Okay, more steeds, gotcha, Fight Munchkinvorous monsters. I like carnivorous monsters, I guess it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I don't see any, like, card previews also.
No.
So
I agree with that.
This is an interesting one because it's also been, I think, quite a while since Half Orcs Will Travel came out. It will take me a minute to look up exactly when that one came out. Munchkin 8 release date.
Okay, I found some pictures online just doing a Jurassic search and images. So I'm seeing cards like Unearthed plus for dust. Oh, it's a German one, that's why. +5 to a monster. Looks like a Tyrannosaurus skeleton. It's undead. That's a level 5. Then there's a regular one that's just Rexy. That's a plus. Oh, Rexy's a +4 steed, it looks like.
Oh my god, it's been forever. Okay. 2012. That's
Since
when
what?
Munchkin 8 was released.
Ah. Yeah, it's been a while since a actual core set has.
Yeah. Granted, like, those first bit of them, because you have to consider the fact that, like, the original Munchkin was back around, like, 2000, late 90s. I think we looked it up the other day. So, it put out 8 expansions over all those years up until 2012. It's like, it's a 6-year hiatus since we've seen a Munchkin core set expansion. They are on, as we said, they are on point with the entire thing, with, like, quoting Jurassic Park. And I don't know if, like, a Jurassic Park / dinosaur Munchkin, it might work. They could have done probably, like, a dino, like, Munchkin of some kind on its own.
Yeah.
I'm sure they could have. Putting it as expansion might be a safer bet. Might be an easier bet, too. You know? Because, again, D&D or Pathfinder, you can fight dinosaurs, so it perfectly works. You know, in the entire fantasy canon that it spoofs.
Yes. So the only card previews I was able to find were in German. And it was just the back of the box.
So that doesn't really give you a lot of information, unfortunately.
Yeah,
No.
It was, like I said, it was a few of them, and that was about it.
I mean, it hasn't been out long. It came out 5 days ago. So this is like, this week it came out. But normally they at least give you a little bit more, even on their site, like a couple of card previews, a little bit more, like the back of the box actually showing it.
Yeah.
We just don't get anything about this. And it's just not a lot of information to make me say this is a worthy expansion to Munchkin. What are the new races? What are the new classes? Are there any? Is there a new mechanic? These are all things that when they brought them in on the other Munchkins, it still added to it. Like,
I'm trying Board Game Geek to see if they might have some.
Okay. Like, even up to Munchkin 8, I still felt that those were good expansions. So I'm unsure about this one on that edge. Granted, their record with core expansions have been good. So it's not like they couldn't be good. It's just that... God...
Yeah, even on Board Game Geek, the only thing they're showing is the back of the box in German still.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm just...
So maybe it came out in Germany first?
It could just be that, or it could just be that's what, like, we're seeing for pictures, you know?
Yeah. That's the only thing I could think of is maybe...
I don't know. It's so unusual that the product has no other pictures of it. That's just so out there for this entire thing. Like...
Yeah, even on Amazon, it's just the front of the package.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wait. No. 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 Yeah, it's just the front of the package that they have. So...
No.
There's like no
and
images.
yeah, I only found I could only find the the German one also myself, unfortunately.
Yeah, so there's like no images of it.
Yeah, it's so strange that they just can't show.
And it's unlike Munchkin not to advertise like that.
That's what worries me about this one, is we can't find any little details that... We don't even need a lot of details, but just a little bits of thing that say like, oh hey, you'd be okay with getting this one kind of thing.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't... It definitely is a worrying thing, you know, that it doesn't reassure me about the quality in comparison to the previous quality. Because 6 years is a long time, too, as much as...
And unfortunately, they've done a lot of questionable things in the last...
Exactly.
In the last year.
Granted, like, I can point out products that they put out, which I've had doubt with, which are good products. You know? They have done things which are good still.
Yeah.
It's just that when they do bad things, they do very bad things, and it's sort of like, this is one that could go either way, unfortunately. Because you're bringing back the core line after a huge hiatus, and yeah, you're not really like advertising anything that makes it feel like it's a worthy return. And I think that's what worries me the most.
Yeah.
I want to, for at least this product, give them the benefit of the doubt, but it's goddamn Steve Jackson Games. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's this love-hate relationship that we've had with them for a while now. Their past, time period has just shattered all illusion of being awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I still like a lot of their products.
Oh, yeah.
It's just some of the stuff they do seem to be pure money grabs.
Or just poorly thought out. Money grabs are poorly thought out. Like their CCG, poorly thought out.
Yeah. Even how they put it out was poorly thought out.
Well, yeah, there was like what? There was the entire era where people were getting packs where the rarity was not randomized, was completely randomized also. So unlike Magic, where you get like, I think it's 15 cards, so you get 1 rare, 3 uncommons, and a bunch of commons. You're guaranteed that. They had, whatever you get is what you get.
Well, they screwed up.
Yeah. There's, like, I think we were saying was there a quality check to notice this? There should have been. But it's growing pains for people trying to get into a CCG game. Like, Magic has had its plenty of errors throughout its age, and it's gotten to a point where errors in card production don't really occur much anymore, if ever. They've managed.
They've managed to standardize their process. They know who to go through now.
They learned a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
So it's just a question of, will Steve Jackson Games learn their lessons? I don't know at this point,
the other question is, will the Munchkin CCG even be around in another few years?
I don't know. It's doing okay.
I think that's questionable.
It might. The thing is, I can see it doing all right because it's a newer one and it's a big name. I just don't see it having staying power right now.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying is, will it be around in another few years? Who knows?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a big question.
But I think that's why you don't see a lot of newer CCGs either.
No, the CCG bubble broke. It super broke. And
if anything, there's probably more online kind of games like that than physical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff's going more and more digital.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why Magic does the online platforms, because they realize that.
Yeah, so very true.
But
yes, though.
There's Z-Man Games.
Yes, sorry, I'm trying to itch my back here before moving on. I've got this really bad itch.
No itching for you.
I was also trying to quickly I haven't been paying attention to the CCG because it hasn't been announcing stuff on their site as much.
Right.
Which is kind of unusual, on Steve Jackson Games' site. Also, not to bust on it, but they have already put out 2 booster sets, with a 3rd upcoming, in less than a year since its full release on its core.
Let's see. They only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13 items in the store for Munchkin CCG, and one of those things is a collectible card game pin set that has a pin for each of the classes.
The thing is, we have to think about Magic. Magic nowadays comes out with 4 sets a year. Okay, Magic can do that. If you put out too much too fast, that's why I'm worried about it, because they're also calling it like with seasons, because it's the season 1 boosters. There's so much about this CCG which I don't know they're doing it right. I worry about them. They could have done it right, even with the game as it was, because we didn't really like the game. It doesn't mean other people might not have. I could see the possibility in the CCG when we tried it. It wasn't so awful that I was like, this couldn't succeed on the game. I just think they're managing the product side a little bad.
Yeah, well, one of the things they have in the store is Munchkin collectible card game Shiny Hero Pack for $8.
What?
Which has a few heroes that are shiny cards. You know, foils.
So they're also trying to mimic Magic a lot more. Granted, the foils I think were not originally Magic. It was like, that might have been like Yu-Gi-Oh or something, and then they added it in around when Modern happened, when the major format change happened around Nemesis, the first major format change. Yeah, it was somewhere around there that shinies.
I thought they had shinies before that.
Not before Nemesis.
Okay.
I think Nemesis is when they were introduced.
Instead of having them randomly in packs, you can buy a pack of...
We see
shinies.
how well that went for Magic in doing that. The debacle of... which is literally a PR nightmare, you know. The PR nightmare they created for themselves. So, please, Steve Jackson Games, fix yourself a little bit. Check yourself out.
And the problem is, the backs on those are very distinct compared to the other cards.
What? Don't you have, like, your hero cards separate anyway? Like...
I don't remember.
I believe you had, like, your character in front of you, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So you always
that's
play
the
with
hero.
Yeah.
So but it only shows us 6 cards, which is 6 for 8.
They have 6 characters, though, right now, it seems like.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, Centaur Warrior, Dwarf Cleric, Human Wizard, Halfling Ranger, Orc Bard, and Elf Thief. That's right, I forgot the actual characters.
Yeah, race class,
and
like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just, they're shiny.
Because we played with you were the Halfling Ranger, and I was the Orc Bard when we tried it out.
Yeah, and the Halfling Ranger was really overpowered compared to the Bard.
The Bard... A good hand may have won that, but the thing is like, it was an uphill battle, and it was much more complex fight. Not to say that you couldn't play complex decks in Magic that require you to know certain things, but the fact is, even without that knowledge, I feel like Magic with the proper, like, hand and setup is a lot easier. Especially with, like, in quotations, balanced decks. I don't know.
Oh, God. I'm just looking at some of the names of some of the expansions. One's Fashion Furious.
Yeah, that's the new one. And Grave Danger is coming out soon. I don't know. I worry so much that they're just doing the wrong things for themselves, but...
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. Whoops. That should have been showing. Oh, I got rid of it. That's right. Let's talk about some Carcassonne. Why don't we? Yeah. So,
Want to go on a safari?
Yeah. So, Z-Man Games, who are in charge of Carcassonne now. That's the important thing to mention about this.
Yes. They now own the rights to it.
Yes. They're releasing a standalone Carcassonne game called Carcassonne Safari. So this is a little, like, oddly red flaggy for me, you know?
It's Carcassonne with a different skin.
Yeah. It's like...
It's the only unique thing I would say is, like, one, you're trying to make a path with as many different animals as possible.
Yeah.
So it's worth more points. And two, you have the watering holes.
This game on its own kind of gives me that vibes of the pandemic debacles. Because they're creating, like, weird versions of pandemic that it's getting harder and harder to call it pandemic.
But, I mean, I can understand it, though, to a point, because you can only expand a game so much.
Yes, it's true.
And add so much to the base before you do an offshoot and then can expand that one.
No, that's true. And
I don't know if Safari was the right direction.
That's, I think, one of those problems that I have with this, too. Like, this is, like, they're making it more Carcassonne than it needed to be. Like, when we're talking...
I was them, if you're going to do, like, a new Carcassonne game, do a different time period.
Yeah, so we have different kinds.
Like, you could do maybe a more modern feel, and then do expansions on the modern.
That would be kind of interesting, the sort of, like...
Or even prehistoric.
There's a lot of ways you could go about it for the entire idea of, like, point getting and playing down tiles.
Right. But I'm just saying, if you want to keep that same style, you know, the same kind of essence, a change in time period instead of a change in species?
Well, I think it's the entire thing for me is this is, like, harkening back, as I said, to Pandemic. When we had normal Pandemic, and then we had Pandemic the Netherlands, where you're worrying about, like, flooding and stuff.
Yes.
Which, when we were looking at that one, it had this weirdness of, like, it sort of works. Sort of.
And then there wasn't there, like, Siege of Rome?
Yeah, the Siege of Rome. Like, when it
that
was
one just was
when
weird.
it was the water, though it wasn't a disease, I could still say it's the plague of water flooding us out.
Yeah.
It's not, like, proper English or proper use of that, but I'm comparing the flooding...
It's still a natural disaster.
Yes. It's still a natural disaster that spreads in an area that you can use a similar mechanic to the plague of Pandemic to understand it. It worked, like, to a degree, not a first degree, like a couple degrees off, but I could still... I still didn't feel bad about it. When they got to Rome, I was like, this is like you took the Netherlands one and went a couple degrees from that one. You are so far from Pandemic as you could be. This feels like they jumped over Netherlands from Carcassonne and maybe didn't go as far as Rome, but went somewhere in the middle there. And that's why it just feels...
Yeah,
off.
it's not a horrific idea, but they could have named it just Safari by the makers of Carcassonne.
Yeah.
Like we said with the Rome one.
Yeah.
By the makers of Pandemic, you know, the makers of Pandemic bring you Rome, the sea.
Or rather than calling it, like, Pandemic, you could have had it like the Siege of Rome, a Pandemic style game.
Yeah.
A Carcassonne style game. By putting the name on it, when I would pick this up and arrange to look at it, like, I would look at, like, standalone, and, like, look at the back, I'm like, this looks a lot like Carcassonne, but I was expecting Carcassonne.
Right.
You know? It opens up expectations.
Yeah. Again, it's the same style of play, it's just odd.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, again, I would have done a different time period instead of going completely off the rails.
There are ways you could have connected it into Carcassonne 2 that would have been like... You could only go so many degrees of separation, as I was saying. And then it would have maybe worked better in, you know, like, what you're feeling like. I don't know about this one, is the problem. Like, it just feels like also...
Also, how are you going to really expand on this one? If they're looking at still using the Carcassonne name to try to make more money.
More animals?
You know, that's the only thing you could really do, and that's doesn't seem that entertaining.
No.
Whereas if you did a different time period, we could do more, we could start off with like basic stuff and then expand on that for a time period.
Like they didn't have like the time period. They didn't have to go crazy for it because Carcassonne was very medieval. They could have gone like Renaissance,
Right. That's what I'm saying though. They could have just upped the time period a little bit, or even if they went drastic and went modern, or something that still would make more sense.
Then you could have things like suburbias and cities that so it'd be similar to the cities of your normal Carcassonne, but then it could be rather than fields, you have suburbia,
Right.
And
or you could still have advanced farms.
Yeah, well, they could have gone up with a lot more variety. I could have seen Carcassonne Modern sounds like it would have been a very interesting and almost an advanced version of the base game with some interesting dynamics to it, because it's you're building off of the images of a modern place and building off of those things that maybe you could have things like farmland still be there, but then you could also have suburbia, cities. You could have forest for parks and stuff, rather than some the abbeys and things like that.
Right. And as far as advancement, you could come out with cities, stuff like that, like you were saying. Also, you could also do advancement in technology and add new technological squares.
Yeah, or even other unique buildings, because they did a lot of unique buildings in all the Carcassonne expansions. You could come out with versions of those too, it's a university, or a school, hospital, police station, and they would have completely different rules from the kind of versions of those of they had in the old Carcassonne. So there's possibilities that expand more in those directions, I think,
and link up better.
Yeah. Because this is what? Giraffe, monkey, elephant, zebra. It's 4, and they say a wide variety of creatures, but they don't really advertise anything else other than those.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the water hole, it's only 4 creatures.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Elephant, giraffe, lion, and monkey or chimpanzee.
Oh, they do it. Yeah, so they have that's the 5th one, because it was elephant, zebra, chimpanzee, giraffe, lion. So they at least have one more they don't mention. Why would you not mention lion?
Well, but lion is on some of the tiles on Z-Man Games' site.
I know, but when they're talking about it, they don't even mention chimpanzee, which is really what it looks like. They mention monkey. That is incorrect.
Yeah, which it's a primate. Chimpanzees don't have a tail, so they're not monkeys.
I would have been giraffes, elephants, lions, and zebras, maybe. That's more iconic. I'm sorry, chimpanzee, as much as you're there.
It's not as much for savannah.
Yeah, it's forest. They get eaten on savannas.
Yeah.
If you're using a chimpanzee, it will be eaten on the savannah. They don't go out there. So that, or very rarely for short periods of time. So it's very inaccurate, too. I kind of feel like that's another annoying thing, is you don't have to be perfectly accurate, but you're jumping a little farther away than you should. Ah, God. I don't know.
And the zebra's not even in the watering hole.
God, the zebra's in the jungle. I don't think they picture it in the jungle in the one tile.
Yeah, well, so is the lion and the elephant are in the tree zone too.
The elephant and the lion actually do move into those if they get opportunities of time.
Zebras really don't, and the chimpanzee should really hang out there more.
This game, it just bugs me. It just bugs me a little bit. I think that's the problem. I don't even know if there's anything other than they say the variety of animals.
You know what? I guess that could be an expansion is into the jungle.
So more things to do with the jungle that they already have little bits of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some trees in the savannah, not many. And like the front of the box is mainly showing like savanna with some scattered trees here and there. So I don't even know if that's supposed to be jungle or just like the edge of the jungle, maybe.
I just make funny noises and like be annoyed at this. Sorry.
Yes.
Ah.
And you're a ranger.
Ooh.
There's a little white car thing.
It is 7+ years, which is what I was originally thinking about for this was like for a junior audience. But they've already done like a Carcassonne for a younger audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that didn't sell as well?
I think most of the Carcassones are like 7+ or close to that.
I don't know if the base game is. That's the question I have, if the base Carcassonne is. I'm unsure, actually.
I'm checking.
Well, there we go.
Oh, that's not the link.
Yeah, it's 7+ for the base Carcassonne.
Yeah, so it's not like a junior edition or anything.
Which even the junior edition, I think, only like subtracts a couple of years. You know, it's sort of like
it just simplifies the rules. Yeah,
it's not meant to be like a super in-depth thing anyway. I just sorry.
I mean, it's pretty much lining up roads and fields.
Yeah.
It's not a hard concept, you know, even for a 7-year-old.
Yeah. So they've done more things like this though before is the problem. They've done other standalone Carcassones that are just weird. Well, there's my first Carcassonne, which is for 4+. But they've done Carcassonne South Seas, Carcassonne Gold Rush, Carcassonne
Amazon.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that one.
I didn't really know about these either. And so that, like, does not reassure me. Like, the Amazon one is just like this one. Maybe folks liked it enough to get it.
And there is a Gold Rush one.
Yeah. See, the Gold Rush one
makes a little more sense.
Yeah, because it's all about, like, routes for trading gold and mines and probably towns to, like, trade into and stuff. So it fits along the lines of, you know, like, placing people down and then removing them to score stuff kind of things. Like, you maybe want to place someone in your mine in order to get something, or, you know, to get some points, or place it into the, you know, the prairies, mountains, cities, and railways. That's very Carcassonne when I describe those things.
And it still makes sense.
The South Seas is a little around that line too. It's about like trade resources, islands, villages, water, and routes in between them.
And there's the Princess and the Dragon.
Well, Princess and Dragon is one of the weird expansions for Carcassonne.
I just didn't know that one.
I have the Princess and the Dragon, actually.
Oh.
I don't have all of the 10 normal expansions, because I was getting them before Z-Man Games got them, so I've got a lot of like some of the weird ones beforehand, so it'd be very hard for me to complete a Carcassonne collection at this point in time, unfortunately.
Because there's Carcassonne the Big Box. What's that have?
It's got a lot of the expansions. It's like a combination of Inns and Cathedrals, Traders and Builders, the Abbot, the River, the Flying Machines, the Fairies, the Messenger, the Gold Mines, the Mage and the Witch, the Robber, the Crop Circles, which are all mini expansions that came out.
Okay.
It's got 11 of the small expansions, which some of the other expansions might have it, but it basically takes the collection of the smaller expansion. It's the base game.
It's the base game with the smaller expansions added.
Yeah. And I don't think it's even all the smaller expansions. It's most of them, though.
Yeah. It's just, if you're just getting into it, don't have any of them.
Oh, that's a really great place to start. But, like, you have to consider, there are that and then 10 other expansions for Carcassonne.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Carcassonne. And when you combine them all together, it's kind of awesome. They got a lot of cool things to it. No one has the stupid catapult, though, it looks like. It was so dumb. Because it made you that you had to use this, like, weird catapult thing that, like, you try to flip stuff.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe it wasn't a good seller and they stopped making it.
Well, again, Z-Man Games has had their hands in Carcassonne now.
Yes.
I'm not sure of the original company off the top of my head.
Might have been, was it, I think it was Mayfair.
It was probably Mayfair, who we were talking about.
Yeah, because we talked about them last week. I think they were originally...
Poor Mayfair.
That was one of their big ones that they were known for.
Yeah. Oh, Mayfair. So, Carcassonne Safari is out now. Take a look for yourself. I mean, personally, it's like Pandemic Rome. I am not a big recommender of it just because it feels like they're a little cash grabbing on the name. But if you're a fan of tile layers, look at it for yourself.
Holy crap, there's a lot of more expansions that I knew about.
The Carcassonne expansions?
I'm on the wiki for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, there's King and Scout, the Carthers, Count of Carcassonne, the River 2, the mini expansion Winter 2006, the Cult, Tunnel, the Plague, the Phantom, Flying Machines, Messengers, Fairies, Robbers, Corn Circles 2, the Watchtower, Markets of Leipzig,
Yep.
the Fruit-Bearing Trees. Yeah, Under the Big Top.
The Plague,
There's Catapult
the
was
Festival,
2008.
Flying Machines, Messengers, Fairies, Gold Mines, Mages of Witch, Robbers, Corn Circles 2, Watchtowers, Markets of Leipzig, the Fruit-Bearing Trees. I mean...
Yeah. The one you were talking about was 2008. The Catapult.
Yes.
A expansion featuring a physical catapult, 12 fairground tiles, and initiate a round using the catapult tokens to be launched by the catapult.
Yes, it's technically Z-Man Games has put out 3 versions of the big box currently now. So, with some like connection between the two of them. I think the it looks as the Big Box 4 and Big Box 6 are pretty much exactly the same. Only Big Box 5 was different because it basically had less of the mini expansions and 2 different core expansions instead, and the river, which they didn't have any. So it's a weird combination of things, but anyway, and it looks like there were other spin-offs before. It's just that I feel like the current spin-offs are a little way out there. Really? Really, there was a Star Wars Carcassonne?
Wow.
God. Yeah. Oh, apparently the Amazon was the Carcassonne Around the World series, so I'm guessing this is part of their Around the World series of games. Let's move on.
Let's go to final segments.
Final segments. My soul has already been crushed today. Just a little bit.
You had one?
Part of one. So, we have a number of regular segments that we have every time we do this show. We do 3 regular segments. If you're here for any of them, we like to talk about some things. Let's start with our first one, which of course is Kickstarter Korner, where we talk about some Kickstarters.
Bam!
You got one?
I just posted it.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
So, the one I found is Town Builder Coverden.
Okay.
I can't speak today. Coverden. It's a draft Draft multi-use cards to construct the best district in a tableau building card game. 1 to 4 players.
Okay.
It got funded in 1 day.
I mean, that is a good sign.
Yes, it's a Canadian company. It has 800 backers, still 12 days to go, and it's at 18,989 out of its 7,624. So it's more than doubled what it wanted.
Yeah, that's a good amount. That's for sure.
The cards look high quality. The artwork is amazing. The big pledge they're out of, which is if you would have paid, what was it? $250 Canadian.
Uh-huh.
Or 199 or 91 or 195 US, you would have got your picture put on one of those 6 judge cards.
Ooh. Iffy.
So you could have been in the game.
You too could be in the game.
Uh-huh. Other than that, they've gone up to 2mm linen box, thicker linen cards, and they have a plastic insert for their next goal for 25,000. Some promo cards if they hit 30, a deluxe box if they hit 35, spot UV on cover, which I don't think is really necessary, for 40. And card sleeves for if they hit 50 for deluxe pledge only.
Neat. Okay. Cool. All right.
Yeah, it just basically looks like you're a town builder. You know, you're trying to hit certain things, you get points.
Yeah, you're building a area that's kind of, you're surviving it.
Yes. Looks interesting. The artwork looks good. And even the base one for... Let's see, that's print and play. Base pledge is about $15 US.
All right.
So cool. That's not bad.
Yeah. No, not at all. All right. Well, I do have one I do want to talk about, but I do want to give a little bit of shout out to another one. I want to give a shout out to Level 7 Omega Protocol. The 2nd edition is up on Kickstarter. The thing about this one is apparently the game has been out of print since 2016, out of stock too, and it's like a best-selling game. It's funded. If you want to get a copy, this is a way. It's kind of like a I would call it one of the mini boards games, kind of like a Curse of Strahd or something, except it's like sci-fi. So, I didn't know about this one, but it looks very cool.
The Curse of Strahd's robot.
Pretty much. But the one I really wanted to talk about was an interesting looking game, Wild Ascent. It's a 1 to 4 player board game which can be solo or cooperative with some PvP game modes and got miniatures and stuff. It's a adventure board game. It is also another one that's funded. It's like 300%. Actually, no, it's over 400% of its original goal now. Working towards that 500. 9 days to go.
5,000.
Yes. So you battle opponents in gladiatorial arenas and Silverstream in its skirmish style arena mode. You can hunt dangerous creatures in the wilds by yourself or with friends, fighting for survival and to keep the expedition alive in campaign-based hunt mode. So that's 2 different modes you got there, like an arena against each other mode or a hunt mode where you're all working together, which already is interesting in and of itself.
Yeah.
They do have like kind of campaigns and scenarios you can play through, highly detailed miniatures. It's all about combat and strategy, making decisions about the board game before you even hit the board, like kind of a thing. So it's got a dual-sided game board. It sets up for all these different scenarios where you kind of set it up. So it's a little like it's a step below like the Curse of Strahd and the one we just were talking about, because it's like you set up scenarios on a much smaller board, and you build it with the pieces you have rather than the board you have. So you just have these one types of boards. So that's kind of interesting that they went that direction. And as they've unlocked a whole lot of expansions, it's like more characters, more types of cards, more enemies, things like that have been unlocked that you can go against. So it does open up a lot. So I'd say it's more miniatures game than Curse of Strahd miniatures exploration game. But it still is very board gamey. So it's like that board game meets miniatures game kind of thing, which we have seen a few of. Maybe not like in this manner, but I think we've seen a couple of them before.
Yeah.
They're very unusual. Yeah, they only have like one stretch goal currently being worked on, but at the rate they're going, they definitely might get it. They do have a lot of interesting miniatures. They do talk about painting said miniatures, because we talked about painting them today, but if you really want to do that, a lot of these games you can paint the miniatures for. You don't need to. Yes.
I'll paint myself.
Yes. I think like the hunt mode would be the one I would play more of if I were to do this one, rather than the PvP arena mode. It's just that it's interesting that they give options for both, I think. So, alright. That's what I have to suggest. Check these two Kickstarters out if you're interested. See for yourself if there's something you would be wanting to support. Let's move on to our week in tabletop. Alright, Joe, we'll let you start with our week in tabletop.
My brain is not working. Trying to think. Last week we played. We just played some. The Western one. What is it?
High Noon Saloon.
High Noon Saloon.
Yes, we did that on Saturday when we met.
Yes, we did 2 of those.
Yep. Which those end up all right. I mean,
they're interesting.
They're always interesting.
Let's see. Sunday we did
Bang, because we had a whole bunch of players.
Bang, yes.
Yes. We almost had the optimal players. Almost.
It was freaking awesome that I lucked out with Dynamite.
Yes. Because of Dynamite, we won, but you drug me and Fallen kicking and screaming to win because we were already dead. We were on the Outlaws.
We were on the Outlaws. Those 2 got killed in 1 round, and I'm like, crap. I still have a deputy, a sheriff, and...
you didn't need to kill the renegade?
Oh, I know. But no, it's like, I have a deputy, a sheriff, and a renegade still on the board with me, and it's like, this isn't good.
Yeah, Blaze would want to kill both you and Unfunny One before the sheriff. So it was sort of like he was in a tough position, but a better position than that.
Yeah.
So.
And I never could shoot the freaking sheriff. She always dodged.
And then Tuesday, I had Legacies of Kain, which was fun. The group is in London, and they've basically, in exchange for information, they've gained favors from 4 factions. They're like, we'll trade favors for this information, and I'm like, thank you. That's content I can add, and also that's just you creating problems for yourselves. Great. And 2 of them came calling at the same time, and they're like, we're probably screwed. Because basically it's like, sneak into this place and steal something that a powerful elder owns.
Yeah, not a good idea.
Well, it's like, if they would return it to the group that wants it, it's a group that wants it, and the group can, claim to, hey, we got this now, ha 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 ha, embarrass you.
Right.
And that's something that they would do. But you're the Gophers, and they're like, we have to avoid being blamed. And that's really hard. They haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
So.
You don't want to piss off an elder.
No, especially because it's Gen 4.
Ooh, yeah, no.
Yep.
Not
basically,
fun.
the person that's in charge, they have to rob a Tremere, too. Some blood magic. So, it's the Tremere that's in charge of Britain, Western Europe, and Australia. And he's currently touring something in Australia. So they are given so basically, he's not home. Go steal his, a staff that's a symbol of his position. And it's gargoyles that are doing it. It's 3 gargoyles that are like, we want to piss off the Tremere more as revenge for them entirely, creating / enslaving us, So, steal this for us. It's a good opportunity, but we're not doing it because we can't really sneak in. You can. And then someone else was also like, hey, while you're there, because, reasons, kidnap this ghoul. Thank you. So two of them are
kidnap a ghoul and steal a powerful object.
Yeah, it's not even a powerful object. It's just a object that's a
okay, a desired object.
It's a symbol of power. Yeah. That's it. It's his symbol of I'm in a position of great power. I was given this to represent it. It's like a staff.
Right.
So yeah, it's not impossible, and I could see scenarios where they could figure it out, where it would work. In my mind, I just don't know if they're going to come up with some of these scenarios or something unique on their own. And generally speaking,
don't alert the guards.
I mean, there are plenty of problems they can create for themselves and plenty of problems they can get through. I want to see which one they do and how creative they get. If they think of something creative enough, I'll give it to them, man. Come up with something that'll surprise me. I will reward you. Hey, then, you want to talk about Thursday?
Yes, we had our season finale on Thursday.
Yep.
Madness of the Land.
Epic boss battle, which actually went really well. It could have murdered you more.
Yes.
But
it could have been a lot worse. Mm-hmm. I was the blindest out of everyone.
Yeah, because the problem was, and I thought about this, there was as soon as the light went out, you no longer could judge where it was if it moved. Because you got nothing on that one there.
Yeah.
It was a little unfortunate that you had no dark vision and no sources of light at that point in time. You were very blind.
Yes.
And you had to rely on other people yelling at you. It's like, Rufus, it's over here. It's like, what?
Okay, I'm going to try to make it over there and try to stab it. I did stab it a couple times.
Yeah, well, pretty much that was mostly before it moved. I think after it moved, you might have hit it once, but I also probably should have comically had you possibly hit one of your allies, because it's just you don't know where it is.
Yeah, it was not fun. But we managed to do that. We managed to escape.
Yep.
We managed to save an ally.
Yeah, I totally was going to get him murdered, but you did something that I'm like, I will save him because of what you did. Congratulations, you earned it.
Yeah, that was a great thought on his part.
Oh, no. Knockern's idea was great there. I was like, that is a rewardable thing. Thank you very much for that idea. Yeah. That was great.
We're not leaving you behind. I'll lose an adamantine shield, but it makes a good doorstop.
Yeah, and that's something that's not. I'll have to figure out what that means in the upcoming season and beyond for him to be around, because that's not normally something I've written for, and that's because that's a unique thing. It's because the thing is, he's an option anyway, as I've written the adventure, since it is a written adventure I have done, an actual fully written. But yeah, the new season will be coming up in a couple of weeks, I announced then, and I'm not sure what format, what players, what's going on with it yet. The details are up in the air right now, but as announcements come, they will come.
Yeah, so, right now we're on a 2-week hiatus.
Yes, giving an opportunity. Some people may have to leave. Some people might have a better chance of not leave if I change things around, but we'll discuss that all. Unfortunately, I'm fairly certain at very least we're going to lose a couple of people for this season. Whether how many people it is, I don't know yet.
And some character changes.
And some character changes also. So it's gonna be very dynamic. And I've been thinking about it, and it might be only one or two of the original group left even. But that doesn't mean it can't happen. As long as I have one, it still works from the original. And the others would be around in different ways for NPCs to help out for people, you know.
Right.
But we'll work it out. I have some ideas dependent on who we coming back for everyone, what the storyline is for everyone leaving, for every one of the characters, basically. So, we'll have to see. I think that's it then. That's it for Tabletop this week. And Consult the Table is our last segment, which people rarely take advantage of, is if you have a question about anything from tabletop to role-playing games, CCGs, if you have something about like a movie, a TV series, anything you want to ask us a question about, go ahead and ask us. You can ask us here. You can check in with us at discussingtabletop@yahoo.com. If you want to email me directly, you can, of course, go to my Discord and message me directly through my Discord in general chat or the Discussing Tabletop chat, because there is one there that you can pop into. You can also get in contact with Wyrm, though he hasn't been around. He'll still take questions on his Discord, too. You can direct message us or just tweet at us on Twitter, at all three of us. As I said, Wyrm's been on hiatus because he had a lot of things going on, and he kind of had a little problems going on with himself that he had to take a break from major internet stuff in general. And that's where he's been kind of trying to recover from that, you know. I know, like, if you're a person that's been behind the show here, he had been kind of on and off for a while there, but that was sort of like a sign of what was to come, unfortunately. A portents that I don't know if I picked up as much as I should have, and I feel unfortunate about that I couldn't have talked to him more. But he's okay, and that's what counts. So, anyway. A lot of ways to contact us. Oh, and when this video goes up on YouTube, you could also check it out in the description, which I should have it out before Tuesday. I'm finishing up. I got 2 other Discussing Tabletops to put up here, so I might I'll try to spread them out. I'm mostly caught up with videos to put out for you guys. Not 100%. At least Madness Land is the one from Thursday is already up. I was on top of it. I got it out yesterday. Not the smoothest, but I got it out. Hey. So, thank you everyone who joined us. Joe, do you have anything to shout out? I guess normally it's just me, but
no,
you got an extra. Okay.
Just the usual. Watch Tantus.
Yes. As for myself, of course, you can find me here daily. Tomorrow is Sundays at the Tabletop in the evening if you want to try some more tabletop content. And then Legacies of Kain on Tuesday, and as I said, Thursday we're on hiatus for 2 weeks, so you got 2 weeks to wait before Madness of the Land Season 2 comes out, and I will probably announce the week ahead of that what all the changes to the game are, like changes in characters, players, anything like that occurs. If a change in time does happen, because that is an option on the table, we'll work it all out. I'll work it all out and let you people know. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be playing some more RimWorld, my 3rd attempt at playing it, so if you like some of my gaming content, you can stop by there, and I'll be adding some more games into the rotation shortly. But, yeah, I think that's it for now. So, check out my links below, YouTube, Twitter, Discord, and of course my Patreon if you want to give some extra support, and, we'll see you next week for more Discussing Tabletop at the new time of 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're just pushing it back an hour to make it easier for me to do my normal morning streams. So, because they've been so awful on Saturdays. With today definitely proved that, I'm going to say, with what was going on today on the family side. So, just busy. Mm-hmm. And
it happens.
Oh yeah, no. All right, everyone. See you next week, and see you hopefully together also tomorrow evening for Discussing Tabletop. So, bye.
Bye.